Welcome to Get It Done Entrepreneurs, where we talk with founders of companies who bet on themselves and won. My name is Rich LeBrun, and I am the founder and CEO of LeBrun Advisory Group. You can find us at rlebrun.com. Our mission is to help our clients build wealth through business ownership. Stick around to the end of the show and we'll reveal how you can be our next guest. Our special guest today is Cesar Hasselmann. He's actually in Australia, so this is kind of fun. We get to talk across the pond. Cesar is a founder and CEO of AMH Consultancy. He's got over 20 years of experience in business strategy, acquisitions, succession planning, market share, team building, and more, which we're going to learn about today. He is an author. He's got a new book coming out, which also we're going to learn about today. Mentor, coach, and a business consultant. Cesar delivers a roadmap for growth for strategic planning and hands-on implementation plan and support. He delivers great cultural and change training, mindset, sales, administration, leadership, market analysis, market share growth, net profit, all the things our listeners want to know about. He is passionate about identifying and understanding your environment to create a process that works for you. He works with business owners to provide them with market insight to improve their performance of their business. His expertise is identifying opportunities and delivering creative solutions and results across all industries. With all that said, welcome, Cesar. How are you today?
I'm great, mate. Thank you very much, Rich. Everything is going well, and it's good and fun to listen to you and talking about what I do. It's just, it's just, it just gives me so much proud in what we can offer and how much people need out there to be able to really make their business work for them, not to keep them as a job and not getting the time and the money that they can from what they have as a risk. So
Yeah,
thank you.
that's great. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I know we're all interested to learn more about this. So let's start out going backwards a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
We really want to know your story. Your story is your story. Only you can tell it. We'd like to know how you became an entrepreneur. What was the thought process? Some people became an entrepreneur voluntarily. They just decided to be one. Some were put in the marketplace because they lost their job and they were forced to go there. A lot of different reasons. And some maybe came from a family business. But nonetheless, we'd love to hear your story, to how you got into business, some of the thought processes, and actually that tipping point where you said, okay, I'm ready to bet on myself.
No, that's cool. Yeah, it's funny because I start with 13 years old and I pivot maybe more than 10 times in different business in different step and stages of my life. Um, was the way that I start to have my own business was quite funny. I was in a friend's house. We actually went to one of his family members' party. So his sister was turning 9 years old, and the DJ didn't show up. So we 13 years old, excited to be part of something. I say, you know what? Let's go to my parents' house. Let's grab the sound system gears and everything that we have there, and let's put it in here, and help her to have a good fun party time. Anyway, we have done that, and because we believe that we were the adults and they are the kids, and we start to dance with them, we start to pick them, and we did a lot of fun stuff. Other parents start to ask us to do the same thing for their kids. So his sister friends became our clients. And then we started to do this in such a nice way, and the group of people was a big friend group of people, which start to create a network of new business for us. So suddenly, his mom got involved. She helps us, giving us space in her office, looking after the bills. So creating, we create names, but she register. So we never thought about the administration side of it. We just got the fun part. And his mom was doing everything as administration part of the business for us, and that took us 4 years, 5 years in a row doing that. and we did a lot of parties. We grew the business. We arrived in a stage that we have 4 vans, 6 DJs. Some weekends we did 7 to 8 parties in one weekend. Some nights we did 3 to 4 parties in one night. So we start to become
Yeah.
very good at it, and we start to create other products. A lot of people in that stage, we used to use cassette plays, right? So we used to record the 60 minutes, 90 minutes cassette plays for the parents to do other parties that they don't need to have DJs there, when they have dinners, when
Mm.
they have just weekends. So we start to have new collateral growth without even knowing what that means. And we have the fun part. His mom take us to overseas to buy the gears. We have all the fancy things that we need to have. But if you ask me from my 13 to my 17, if I was talking about P&L, or if my money in my bank account was growing, none of that was happening. Was what was happening is we have a solid business. We do can choose all the gears that we wanted. We do can have trips. We have people working for us, but the part of payments and everything we just start to touch when we were 16 to 17, and that's when the problem starts, because you start to talk about money, and you start to talk about
Yeah,
this is mine, this is yours, and yeah.
sure.
So
Yeah. Now you have to get down to reality, as they call it. You got to pay bills. But 13 to
that's
17, boy, you came out of the gates, right, as an entrepreneur, and you had some great ideas back then. And cassette players, a lot of our listeners may not even know what those are anymore. But
that's right.
just assume that was another device to like a record or a CD. They were cassettes. But
But
today,
we did what was just arriving the CD recorders. We did have that because you have that fight about who gonna have the next technology that Philips, Sony used to fight. So the CD, DVDs, all those platforms, one big company used to have the technology, and they tried to guide through. Remember that,
yeah,
Rich? So, but then they launched that, which is a system that big studios, recorders, they still use today, and that was launched back then. And we used to have a dot. We bought it a dot recorder on that stage, but we couldn't use commercially or in our parties.
all right. So
So
let's go. All right, 13 to 17, you had this entertainment business going. And then what
yeah.
happened? 17, roll the clock a little bit forward. What happened?
Oh, it's a lot of things happen. So in 16, when I arrived in my 16, I started to do some photo shootings, TVs, commercials, magazines, blah, blah, blah. And my interest with the party was kind of diminishing along the way. I did theater too. And but what's happened, what's make me make that move was one party that we have done, and the client didn't pay for the party. And what's happened is, because I was the guy who was negotiating with that guy, which was a brother of another friend,
Of course.
um, brought that kind of environment that the trust was not there anymore, because that was the time that we start to understand about money, that the time that we start to really do things. And that guy didn't pay, and my business partner start to believe that I didn't put the money back at the company, right? And that brought us in a place that the trust in between us, and the nice thing was, I didn't feel, I lost the love for that. And then 1 year later he died anyway. So
Mm, mm,
he had some problem. He was hemophilic, and unfortunately he died. So I gave everything to his mom anyway, because she was the one who helped us, and she loves him so much. I believe that was kind of her present, from my end, in the
sure,
money from her son. But
sure.
what's happened after that is I went to these part of TV programs, shows, but I never trust that gonna give me support, financial support enough to go to the places that I want to. And then I start to work with my own thing. So I have a couple people that I know that they have their own companies and they have products. and I say, oh, I can sell products, and they have good markup, so I have good relationship with them. And I say, you know what? I'm gonna start to sell for gas stations, for market, supermarket, those products, because my brother, it's older than me. He was already doing that, and I already have some taste about selling some stuff for supermarket. So then what's happening is suddenly, with those two, three products that I became a kind of distribution and represent business.
Mm-hmm.
And then I start to do a lot of things with gas station that nobody else used to do, and I start to have a very big network of gas station to sell products. And then I start to add value to my product, so I start to chase for more products to sell for the same people that I know, and and and, and we start to use supermarket. And my brother was working for Coca-Cola in that stage, and I invite him to come to become a business partner at the company, because he could open a much bigger market place for me with the products that I already have. And then we became um, business partners on that, and we grow the business nationally. So I have all the gas stations, majority of the big brands and networks gas stations in my country, and he got the big central supermarkets that has supermarkets around the country too, and we start to grow from there.
So
So
you go from entertainment industry into distributorship into the supermarkets, gas station, but now you're doing something different today. It sounds like you've leveraged a lot of this experience, and now you're doing some coaching, right? Business executive coaching and corporate coaching.
yeah, so because that business, we have a change in our country. The president took the money from everyone with excuse to pay the international debt, and that put me to work for a company. So I started to work for PepsiCo Group, and then but I could not feel comfortable with the executive way to live. I do not like the political games. As an executive, to grow, you need to go too much, too much into little favors. That is not just about your potential, and the opportunities open for wrong people if they have the right connection sometimes, and that was not something that I was happy with. So I jumped back to work in the industry. I went to marketing and communication, and then from there, open a window for me to open my own company in technology, supporting those big clients that the marketing companies used to have. So I start to do everything of SAP system, SAP system.
Mm-hmm.
So and I have big accounts. So you name it, big clients. I used to have them, and I built a business from four staff to 120 staff, and I have a turnover around 25 to 30 million dollars. I have a group behind me, and on that stage, I arrived in a place one day that my son arrived. I was working 70 hours a week. My partner and I, we didn't have much time together. And my son, after almost 3 months of his born, I could just stay with him for 4 days. And I arrive in a place that I looking around my life and I say, hey, it's not about the game anymore. My relationship with the mother of my son is not the best one. I almost hardly know my son with 7, 8 months of age. And I say, I don't want this for my life anymore. And then I stop and I say, I would like to move for a place that I can have a quality life and I can look after my family and see what I can do best. So
Mm-hmm.
because of that, I moved from my country to Australia. I did a lot of search and a lot of things that I would like to do, to one sabbatic year to check what I'm gonna do in my life. And I turned my back for the company and I stay here forever because I love this here, and I start to apply here my knowledge. Because under that company, what I have done is I have immersed in every single big company to understand the process, to give them a program to save them money from sub systems. So we used to do new programs or develop new programs or tools for the company through the sub system without needing to pay the price tag that you need to pay for those improvements in the system. So I used to analyze the company, analyze the team, analyze the culture, analyze the needs, analyze the outside client and internal client. And I start to do consulting. I start to do consulting, coaching, mentoring based on the same thing. But instead of doing that for big companies, I focus myself to do that for family business, because they are the one that will not play the political game in some stage, in some level, to be able to achieve what they want. And then that when AMH was born.
It's a wonderful story. I mean, really, even I hear passion all the way through that story. Okay, and you just switch industries. It seems like you have a heart, obviously, for your son, which carries over into your heart for family businesses, and now you get to leverage all that experience you've learned as an entrepreneur, as working for corporations, into helping other companies grow. Fantastic. And one of your best decisions you made is move to Australia, because you said you love it there. So a lot of decisions went on there, a lot of different parts of the journey, and unfortunately, the death as a partner. So, running a business and partnerships, all is life. It has a lot of life to it besides just business. I want to take a little bit of a commercial break. You got a new book coming out here in December, so I want to give you a chance to promote that book. It's called The Life Breakthrough. So tell our listeners, there you go. You can see it on the screen for those who watch the video here. And tell us, what's behind that book. If what am I going to walk away with if I read that book?
Okay. That's about life cycles. Of course, from 13 to today, to go through what I've been exposed to in my life, you learn about all the cycles that you need to understand in your life to be able to match and have a good balance, have a good outcome. So the book is actually a result of couple of my clients' wives, husbands, that they said they look back and say how much we add value to each others and how much did their life change. And they say, why don't you share that with others in a book? And that's where the book came from, start to take shape. But what we do, what I teach on the book is a chapter by chapter, which stops and asks you questions every single chapter to have your own book. And then this here, it's about your life cycle, your personal cycle, your personal needs. And then we are like a tree, a fruit tree. If the tree is not giving you fruit, it's because the tree is not strong enough, and everybody knows that. So how can you share love with your family, or how can you share your time with your business if you don't have enough to have your own fruits first? And we forget about it. So, and then based on that, we have the cycles, the life cycles, what you expect from yourself, what people expect from yourself. Then you have the business cycles. So what you can expect from your business, what people can expect from you towards to your business, and how you can expect things from people back to your business, and the boundaries, how you set up the boundaries properly. How can you change from from executive to a business owner? It's completely different mindset. It's completely different risk. You get out of a consistent income to put money back every day in your business until you can have return enough and feel stable enough to start to be able to grow. And in that, even in that process, in your own business, you have the business cycle itself. So one day you'd like to sell your business, or one day you would like to bring your family member to your business. So how can you manage that cycle before you need it? Because on those days, Rich, people just think about what they need to do a couple weeks, a month, or a couple years before they need to do it. And that sometimes is too late, it's too painful, it's too expensive. It's better for you to understand that before you move into the journey, or fix your journey before you need to change.
It sounds like, is this a workbook? Someone could actually, when you're all done, so it looks like the picture you showed here, for those who are listening, there's actually questions and answers.
This is a book that we have a content example on the chapter one. I'm gonna talk about life lessons example, right? And then the way that I approach emotionally and physically, and then at the end of that chapter, I have some questions for the reader to think about their own life, and then they can answer those questions and they can start to guide themselves through. The idea of that is to give people something that they can take home for their own life, so they can create their own guidance without having someone telling them you need to do this, you know.
I was thinking about that, going, what a great opportunity to go through this all-encompassing, I'll call it soul-searching perspective, anywhere from your personal growth, family growth, business growth, where you want to be today, where you want to be tomorrow. Having a good understanding of that is a good way to stop for long enough in life, right? And capture that. And who knows what comes out of that exploration. You may affirm yourself, right? You may pivot, adjust. Like you mentioned, you did a lot of that adjusting and pivoting in your early years. And that seems like that's the flavor of the book, right?
It is. It is about change is a need. If you are entrepreneur or if you are executive wanting to change your life, and you need to change almost every day. You need to learn things almost every day. So in accepting that and understanding where you at, you're gonna be able to arrive where you want to be without needing to pay the price of the doubt and mistakes, because you will understand that before you make the decision.
Yeah, yeah, great. Okay, so now we're going to take all that knowledge you have, and when that book comes out in December or January, we'll get a chance to get that in hard copy and read it. But you're a founder, CEO, got a great lot of experience behind you. I'm 68. I've seen a lot of different things in our economy and around the world, but I would say today, to see the culmination of so many things globally, where it's labor and supply chain, the pandemics, wars, recessions, dollar is dropping, whatever. Uh, how are you navigating? What's keeping you focused? Do you see this as a time for growth? Do you feel this is a time to run, retreat? Uh, Tell me, how are you navigating this as an owner and a CEO, founder of your company?
It is funny. I believe that everything that you just said is about to tell us that, okay, now we change. We change physically, mentally, and the whole word concept of living is change. Um, I believe we from the last, what, 30, 40, or 50 years or more, everyone's saying the concept of living is not quite right for today's life. And I believe COVID just brought this up and spewed this up and smashed that in our face, that say, hey, banks, these systems might not be the way to go anymore. Hey, politicians, this way to handle the relationship between tax, people, and process might not be the best way to deal with that. Maybe we need more, or maybe we need less, maybe we need to stop with things. So I believe everything's changing. And of course, some industries paying a bigger price than others, and other industries, new industries and investment industries, they are actually cruising very well, because the opportunity of growth on those changes is being great. But of course, for big established companies, is a big is a big is a big break in the way that they used to run, and of course it's scary. So you know about transport, international transport being much more expensive than ever was before. And this gonna change the whole chain of transport and food, and in any industry, inclusive. If you want to buy a car today, sometimes you need to wait 6, 7, 8 months after you already paid for it. So what I believe is we are great in adapt ourselves, and this time on the industries now give us so much option for growth. if you are stagnating and if you don't know what to do, you need just to understand where you're at and how you're gonna keep moving, but do not keep doing the day to day without thinking about it, because the people who is just keeping the day to day without thinking about the big picture and how to adapt themselves, they might gonna be the ones who are gonna be paying the price. But if you have an eye for growth and you're hungry to keep moving, I believe the market's waiting for you to put your fingers out and start to make the difference.
Yeah, I love that thinking. We've seen in history the companies that refuse to change in any type of economic crisis. They're no longer here. And but the ones who are willing to change, adapt. Now it's obviously you get a big corporation; they don't. It's hard to steer that ship and change compared to a more nimble, smaller company. But the theory is the same. If you're not willing to stop, change, look around, adapt, and you see this, if I heard you correctly, a lot of opportunity. Is that right? You see, if we're willing to do those type of things, look around, adjust, and adapt, you see the opportunity ahead.
That's right. I see it. I don't get the bad side of life. I believe if you have energy enough to understand things and you're powerful enough to make things happen, you're not supposed to look for what's wrong. You're supposed to look for what's right and what are the opportunities out there. Sometimes with your day to day, with finance pressure, those things they don't allow much space for you to move that direction. But if you waste too much time on that too, you're gonna lose the time. I can give some example, Rich. I have a client that he used to have 45 stores, dress stores, and as soon as and 4 years ago, 4 years, just 1 year, 1 year and a half before the COVID hit it badly, I have made him spend almost $100,000 creating e-commerce for his business, right? And he hated, and he every time that we have a meeting, he used to tell me that I was throwing his money away and those things. So we have a meeting just before COVID arrived, and he was questioning our relationship because how much effort I put it on developing that thing. And funny enough, after that meeting, which was questioning if we're gonna keep ourselves working together or not after almost 6 years, I asked him to have a break. I say, mate, I believe we need a break. We need to have 6 months, 1 year of break because it's just work what I do if you trust enough to make the calls and make the change. So we need that space. And then funny enough, that was November, and then in March, COVID hit it. In April, he has a lot of costs on his stores because the buyer was not coming. And then he contacted me and say, mate, can we swear, Rich? He say, shit, I don't know
Oh,
where is this
oh,
going to. And then I asked him a question, mate, have you thought about using your e-commerce, putting to work? And I say, no, I don't have any idea. I don't have those passwords. I throw those things out, blah, blah, blah. I say, mate, okay. So let's have a meeting, bring your stakeholders and let's talk about it. And then we have done a meeting. In that meeting, we start to use the e-commerce. So 2 months after the e-commerce was pumping, running, he was making almost 3 times more in revenue from his e-commerce than all his stores together at the time that he used to have a big turnover in their stores, and he was shutting after we're talking about 6 months on the road after that happened, right? So he shut it 50% of his stores. His profit level was skyrocketing, and he could manage old stock all over the shop, and his operational cost went for 25% of the running cost that he used to have, right?
yeah. What a great
So
story. And he could have just missed it.
He's not supposed to be ready. He's not supposed to be ready.
Great story. Okay, I want to kind of wrap you up here a couple things. One is I want to give you a chance to say, who is your customer? For our listeners, or half our listeners are business owners, half are people working in corporations. But who's your customer? Who would best utilize your service?
Oh, I much prefer to work with family businesses, but I'm open to talk about different opportunities. But my client must to be ready for growth or for change. So if they are in a place that they want to sell the business, they want to bring the business partner, they want to take over another business, those are the clients that I'm passionate about. If you have a business that's working well, but you know you can do more, or if you're working too much to your business, you create a business that actually became an employee of yourself. So the business doesn't work for yourself. That's a kind of client that I love. And people who has a good business, but they know that they have potential that they cannot see. I love to do collateral growth acquisitions. I believe that's a big thing. For executive that thinking about having a business, I believe they can have a kind of consulting. So create a roadmap before change, because you need to understand the mindset, you need to understand the risk, you need to understand how much that can impact in your family, in your relationship, personal life, before you change. Because that mindset switch sometimes takes 2 or 3 years for you to do it after you're going through too much pain, and that's not necessary.
Very good, very good. And so, Cesar, what's the best way if listeners want to get a hold of you? What's the best way for them to do that?
They can go to my website. I change everything that I do from AMH for Cesar Hasselmann. I'm putting myself in front of it now after so many years. So I have a website called CesarHasselmann.com. And it's not perfect. It's a start point of my change. But if people would like to connect with me, they have all emails, phones, everything that they need to know, and they know exactly what I can do and offer for them there.
Very good. And so we'll put those those in the notes. And your book will be coming out in December, January. Will you be selling that on Amazon so everybody around the world can get a hold of that?
Yes, I'm probably gonna give opportunity for you, Rich, first to put the things out. I have a couple of people from podcasts that I do have good a vibe from what we share and how many people we help. So before I go to Amazon, I'm gonna put a landing page in my website, and I'm gonna give the links for you guys to do that. And then after that, I can chase to become something in the Amazon sales. But I'm more worried about give people something that they can really use than became a big author.
Very good. Very good. Cesar, on behalf of all our listeners, this has been a fun conversation. I love your story. I just love hearing how people get started at 13 years old, and here you are today, and people could benefit by all that wisdom. So thanks for taking time out of your busy day. I know it's morning over there in Australia, so you're starting your day, and we're over here in Chicago. We're towards the end of our day, but again, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much, Rich. I appreciate you guys to having me. And anytime, I'll be happy to help or give any tips. Thank you very much for having him.
Very good. And for all your listeners, this will be on all the podcast platforms here in about 2-3 weeks. And also you can find it on my YouTube station, the video part. Great, and have a wonderful day. Rich LeBrun here. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast, Get It Done Entrepreneurs. If you are a successful business owner who would like to be on this program, please visit us at rlebron.com/podcast and fill out the form, and we will reach out to you. If you got something out of this interview, would you share this episode on social media? Just do a quick screenshot with your phone and text it to a friend or post it on the socials. If you know someone that would be a great guest, tag them on social media to let them know about the show. Include the hashtag GetItDoneEntrepreneurs. I love seeing your posts and guest suggestions. We are regularly putting out new episodes and content. To make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show and mean a lot to me and my team. Want to know more? Go to our website, rlebrun.com, or follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Thanks for listening. We will see you next time.